On March 11, 1513, Giovanni de' Medici ascended as Pope Leo X, marking a historic moment for the Medici family. Giovanni de' Medici transforms into Pope Leo X upon entering the Vatican. He dreams of glory, but faces controversy. His papacy was extravagantly lavish, spending enormous sums on art and commissioning masterpieces from Raphael and Michelangelo. Grand banquets and festivals became the talk of Europe, making luxury synonymous with his reign. Leo X treated his papacy as a platform to showcase the grandeur of the Medici name, invested heavily in vanity projects, extravagant festivals, and the massive reconstruction of St. Peter's Basilica. Soon the Vatican finds itself in dire financial straits. To replenish funds, Pope Leo X escalates the sale of indulgences, a practice where one pays the church for forgiveness. This movement aimed to refill the treasury, but ignites outrage within the Christian community. One such critic, Martin Luther, a German monk and theologian, is appalled by the church's corruption. He views the indulgence sales as a betrayal of faith, believing in a more genuine path to God's grace. In response, he writes his 95 Theses, a powerful critique of indulgences and church corruption, which he nails to the door of the Wittenberg Church. As Luther's ideas spread throughout Europe, Pope Leo X dismisses him as a minor nuisance, underestimating the looming threat. Ignoring Luther would result in dire consequences, setting off a religious schism that would change Christianity forever. Meanwhile, Leo X focuses on solidifying the Medici family's power. He appoints his young nephew, Giulio de' Medici, as cardinal, with hopes of his eventual ascension to the papacy. Yet, unbeknownst to Leo, his plans are doomed, as his indulgent lifestyle soon takes a toll on his health. In December 1521, at just 46 years old, Leo falls ill and dies unexpectedly, leaving the Vatican in turmoil. The sudden death of Pope Leo X marks the close of a decadent era. While his passion for the arts flourished, his financial mismanagement crippled the church. Following Leo's death, the Vatican elected the devout reformer Adrian VI from the Netherlands. This unexpected turn proves challenging for Giulio de' Medici, but he remains undeterred. Within 2 short years, Pope Adrian VI mysteriously passes away, leaving the papacy open again. Giulio now skillfully navigates the conclave, garnering support with promises of stability and Medici leadership. As the newly elected pope, he appoints his illegitimate son, Alessandro de' Medici, to lead Florence, restoring Medici royalty over the city. Yet, Giulio's election as Pope Clement VII heralds a dark chapter for the Vatican, threatening their legacy once more. Pope Clement VII ascends in 1523, returning Medici's strength to the Vatican, but his leadership is fraught with instability. Europe is engulfed in conflict, divided by rising Protestant reformers and battling Catholic monarchs. At the center of this chaos stands the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, whose increasing power threatens to overpower the Italian states, papacy included. Unlike centralized nations like France or Spain, the Holy Roman Empire is a complex network of kingdoms, duchies, and city-states, loosely tied under an elected emperor who holds minimal control. For the first time, Charles accumulates unprecedented wealth and military strength, seeking to assert dominance over all of Italy. Pope Clement VII is hesitant to choose sides. Initially aligning with Charles V, he later shifts allegiance to France and other Italian states in a coalition known as the League of Cognac. This proves disastrous. Charles V, enraged by the betrayal, retaliates with brutal aggression. On May 6, 1527, the imperial army, driven by desperation and religious fervor, attacks Rome with devastating force. The city, inadequately defended, falls quickly. What ensues is one of the darkest episodes in Vatican history. For months, Rome is ravaged, churches are robbed, invaluable Renaissance art is lost, and thousands of lives are claimed. This harrowing event is marked as the sack of Rome, a catastrophic moment for the Vatican. Pope Clement VII narrowly escapes with his life, taking refuge in the Castel Sant'Angelo, a fortress linked to the Vatican by a secret passage. The sack signifies more than just a blow to the papacy for the Medici, it's a warning. Their hold on power, historically tied to the Vatican's strength, is waning. Soon, the tides of fate will impact Florence directly. Helicopter worry Pope Clement VII's selection of his illegitimate son, Alessandro de' Medici, as the leader of Florence backfires. Alessandro, both brutal and paranoid, silences dissent with executions and exiles, rewarding only his loyal allies while instilling fear among former nobility. His notorious personal life reflects his cruel governance, earning him a terrible reputation. With enemies conspiring in the shadows, 1537 sees a betrayal. Lorenzo de Medici, Alessandro's cousin, lures him into a private meeting under false pretenses, then stabs him to death, ending Alessandro's short, brutal reign. Chaos envelops Florence, teetering on the edge of civil war due to the lack of a clear successor. Following the sack of Rome and Alessandro's assassination, Florence faces uncertainty, but destiny shines on an unexpected figure. One who will restore order and transform Florence into a true stronghold of Medici power. His name is Cosimo I Medici. He's born in 1519. He grows up distanced from the political turbulence of Florence, raised in obscurity. Cosimo, a distant relative of the ruling family, spends his early years immersed in military strategy and classic literature, preparing for his eventual test when fate calls. That moment arrives in 1537, after the shocking assassination of Alessandro de Medici. With no clear leader, chaos reigns in Florence, and the elites seek a puppet ruler to control. They mistakenly select 17-year-old Cosimo, assuming his youth makes him easily manipulated. Yet they soon discover Cosimo is anything but weak. At just 17, Cosimo I Medici assumes power, a ruler they presume won't last. Fully aware of the need to solidify authority, he acts swiftly. Cosimo dismantles lingering Republican factions, rooting out opposition before it can take root. He crushes a coup attempt, exiling or executing conspirators, and sending a clear message. His authority will not be challenged. He forms a personal guard, bolstering Florence's military control. Gradually, he replaces unreliable nobles with loyalists, reshaping governance to mirror his vision. With power firmly secured in Florence, Cosimo dreams bigger. In 1555, after years of careful diplomacy and military readiness, he sets his sights on Siena, a wealthy, independent city-state. Supported by the Spanish crown, Cosimo lays siege, starving Siena into submission. After a grueling 15 months, Siena succumbs, incorporating it into his expanding realm. With Siena now a part of Medici territory, Cosimo's ambition grows. He solicits recognition from Emperor Charles V, and in 1569, Pope Pius V grants him the title of Grand Duke of Tuscany. Through military conquest, political savvy, and iron-fisted rule, Cosimo elevates the Medici from mere bankers to true monarchs. A Grand Duke is not just any ruler, but a sovereign title just below a king's, signifying the Medici's rise to royal stature. Cosimo's brilliant strategy ensures the Medici transition from local power brokers to full royalty. From a young age, he adeptly masters military tactics and the intricacies of political power. He understands the need to consider consequences beyond mere actions. Cosimo I de Medici achieves the unthinkable, transforming Florence into an unofficial kingdom, ruling as Grand Duke with absolute authority. Yet, even the mightiest rulers face the test of time. As years pass, Cosimo's health declines, casting uncertainty over Tuscany's future. His son, Francesco I, lacks not only his father's vision, but also his strength and discipline. Corruption seeps in, trade falters, and Medici influence diminishes. His marriage to Joanna of Austria is politically motivated and deeply unpopular. Instead, Francesco openly favors his mistress, Bianca Capello, scandalizing the court and alienating vital allies. By the time Francesco dies unexpectedly in 1587, Tuscany lies weakened, and the once mighty Medici family struggles to maintain its legacy. Yet as Florence falters, the Medici name prepares for a remarkable comeback, this time not led by a man, but a woman. Catherine de Medici rises to prominence amidst the treacherous world of Italian politics. Her early life under the watch of Pope Leo X and Pope Clement VII, initially a pawn in political games, especially after the Medici lose Florence in 1527. Enemies capture her, imprisoning her in a convent for 3 years. This ordeal fosters a resilient, calculating character, enabling her to adeptly navigate the court's violent landscape. In the 1530s, Pope Clement VII, aiming to extend Medici influence beyond Italy, orchestrates a historically significant marriage. At just 14, Catherine is sent to France to marry Prince Henry, the second son of King Francis I. This strategic match unites France and the papacy, paving the way for Medici footholds in European royalty. Initially, as the wife of a younger prince, her power is limited, and Henry shows little interest in her, preferring his older mistress. For years, she remains sidelined, biding her time. But when her moment arrives, Catherine is ready. Music she endures years overshadowed in the French court, overlooked by her husband and eclipsed by his mistress. However, in 1547, a monumental shift occurs. King Francis I succumbs to syphilis, and Henry rises to the throne, allowing Catherine to become Queen of France. Yet, her newfound status brings little power. Catherine remains ignored, stuck in the shadows, merely fulfilling her role as mother to 10 children while patiently waiting. But fate will soon intervene. In 1559, a jousting tournament celebrates a royal wedding. But tragedy strikes when a splintered lance fatally injures King Henry. In the aftermath of this unexpected accident, he is left battling for life, and Catherine stays at his side. On July 10, 1559, King Henry II passes away. His sudden demise is astounding, taken so unexpectedly in a celebration. Instantly, the political landscape changes, and Catherine finds herself at the forefront of France's future. With Henry II gone, she steps into a ruling role previously thought unattainable. Her eldest son, Francis II, only 15, inherits the throne. However, Francis is weak, inexperienced, and falls ill, ultimately passing away within 17 months. His younger brother, Charles IX, ascends at just 10 years old. A child king necessitates a regent. Thus, Catherine positions herself as the person capable of holding France together. It is surreal for a Medici to wield influence over a kingdom, far beyond their earlier rule in a city-state. This is a true victory for the Medici name. As her young son Charles IX reigns, Catherine dictates terms at the French court. However, France is embroiled in turmoil, split between Protestant Huguenots and warring Catholic nobles. Ever the strategist, Catherine aims to balance both sides, playing them against each other to prevent either from gaining too much power. By 1572, tensions escalate, leading to one of history's most infamous massacres. Under Catherine's orders, thousands of Protestant leaders and citizens are slaughtered across Paris. This event, known as the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre, solidifies Catholic dominance, but brands her as a ruthless and despised queen. After Charles IX dies in 1574, her power begins to decline. Her next son, Henry III, assumes the throne, but is indecisive and extravagant, disconnected from public struggles. As Catherine ages and grows increasingly desperate to maintain control, she passes away in 1589, just before the Valois dynasty collapses. Her last surviving son, Henry III, is assassinated, leaving France without a direct heir from her bloodline. In her final moments, she understands that the kingdom is slipping away, her offspring weak and her legacy marred in blood. It's a tragic end for a formidable ruler. The Medici name may have reached heights in France, but their influence wanes. Following Henry III's death, the House of Valois ends, and the Bourbon dynasty, led by Henry IV, ascends to power. Although Catherine's bloodline lingers through granddaughter Marie de Medici, who becomes Queen of France, the Medici struggle to regain dominance in Italy. The Grand Dukes of Tuscany persist for another century, but their authority diminishes. Their grand banking empire fades, and political influence in Italy weakens. The rulers become increasingly detached and indulgent, unable to secure their future. The final blow arrives with the failure to produce male heirs. By 1737, Gian Gaston de Medici, the last of their line, passes without an heir. Leading Florence under Austrian control, what began as a family of ambitious bankers, which rose to dominate Florence, the papacy, and even France, ultimately ends here. Yet, the Medici legacy remains intact, marked by their impact on history, evident in the Renaissance. Magnificent palaces, art, and modern European culture. The Medici mastered the art of power like no other family, shaping the landscape from Florence to the Vatican, leaving an indelible influence that endures. They were not merely rulers but architects of a modern world.